What's going on, guys? My name is Doug. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the channel if you're new. I'm very excited that you guys decided to stop by and tune in today because we're going to be listening to Nav's latest project, Good Intentions. I'm pulling up Spotify on the computer right now. I decided to record the introduction already as I wait for it to come up. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm extremely excited about it. Some people have given mixed reviews. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. He put out a deluxe project that is basically just another album, kind of the same thing Lil Uzi Vert did. I am interested in this new idea that Lil Uzi Vert had and kind of pioneered, where he releases a deluxe version of an album that is basically another album. So, I will be going through that as well, not in this video or else that would be too many tracks. Yeah, I guess I'm going into it with an open mind. Nav is kind of entertaining. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he misses. And, we'll go into this with an open mind and see what he has for us on this project. And with that said, just be sure to support the channel. Supporting the Patreon is really cool. It's a really great way to support the channel because it's how I crowdfund all of the different ideas for different segments and equipment for the channel. And this channel is basically existent to this day because of the support from the patrons. So very huge thank you to you guys. You can also follow the social media, subscribe to the channel, like and share the videos, comment down below. Things like that. I'm super appreciative for all of the support that you guys have shown to the channel so far. And yeah, with that said, let's just get into it. Let's listen to some music. So this is Good Intentions by Nav. The first track is Good Intentions intro. So yeah, this is it. Let's get it.
But I still got good intentions. This shit don't know about cause I don't take no pity. If I come inside, she got a king inside her belly. In every city. Don't let my broskies on my bus, but know they with it. I know baby mama between my fatty. If I come inside, she gotta take my spot.
He's kind of going off on the second verse.
That's just how I.
So wavy little intro, man. I'm not mad at that one, actually. It's got a catchy little hook to it. I do think that his performance on that second verse is a little more entertaining than the first one. I think the flow is a little catchier. It rides a little bit nicer with the track. But for the most part, there's just not really too much to say about it. It's just a really smooth intro. It's a decently entertaining track. It's not bad. Next track is No Debate featuring Young Thug.
Woke up feeling like a million. These stones got clarity, they tickle and they twink. And they cost a little more than what you think. I'm ballin' like I got a dribble though. Diamonds biting, but they need a muzzle. I don't got a vibe.
I'm not a fan of those snare rolls.
Diamond on me when you can go skating.
It's catchy enough. Yeah, we got a wheezy beat here. It's got a really cool bounce to it. I'm just not a huge fan of those snare rolls. But yeah, it's got a catchy enough hook. Decent performances from Nav and Young Thug. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special. This isn't like a very memorable banger, anything like that. But if you're just letting this play through, man, there's really no reason to skip it. It's a good song. My Business featuring Future.
I'm boss, I'm on my base. Open up the box, got bills in the kitchen. Own me a bag, now you gotta keep my bitch. Extra cheese and extra guac, I'm part of the money making committee.
This track would be special if Future kills it, man. Flawless transition into the chorus, man.
You know how they work. Looking at the rich, you might be a bread. By the way, the chain hits on a few bears. Walk on the track, gotta touch myself.
Yeah, man, I honestly prefer Nav on this track over Future. Nav was sliding on that first verse, man. He was flowing. He was really performing, switching up his cadence, flawless transition into that chorus for the second chorus. Just a really catchy actual hook to the song. Great production, really good beat selection. I love those little melodies going on over the top, very spacey. And Future came in and did his thing for sure. Like, this is not a bad feature from Future, but definitely not as melodic as I was expecting. I wish Future would have been a little more creative with his actual flow. He kind of kept it pretty stagnant throughout the entire thing. And, I just feel like this could have been better. This had some real potential, and Future kind of limited that a little bit. But Nav, for sure, very impressed with him on this track. Next track is Turks. I've actually listened to that. That's a really cool song. That's actually on my playlist. All three of them really did their thing. The chorus is really catchy. Love the beat. Travis, Gunna, and Nav are actually a really great combo. So yeah, I just really like that one. But we're going to be skipping on to track 5, which is Brown Boy.
That shit was clean. Try to catch him outside, but he peeling off the scene. if I could be like you one day.
What's cool about this beat, I'm loving those really happy, like playful little melodies in the background. But the way that this beat sounded before those heavier drums came in, if this track had continued like that, like without the heavy drums and just that really little catchy melody on a loop, it actually would have sounded awesome as like a Travis Scott interlude. You know what I mean? I'm glad that those heavy drums came in because this is an actual like track, but just think about it. That little loop and Travis Scott just doing like a little interlude over that would have been so sweet, man. Like that's really what I want to hear on this, you know? And I'm comparing this now to a track that doesn't even exist in my head, so that's unfortunate, but I mean, we'll see what Nav has for us.
Makes me sick when he brag on Bo's brown boy. He can turn my wife into a hoe. I heard he be fucking with Thug and all the slimes.
This is catchy. I like this one. Really catchy, little sweet kind of song. He kept it nice and short. It's just over 2 minutes long. You know, it's just a really fun little vibe. Really cool performance from Nav, and there's just nothing too much more than that to it, you know. So I added it to my playlist. It's a really easy track to listen to. Just kind of let it play all the way through. I'm definitely going to come back to that one. Still wish it would have had a Travis Scott feature or something like that on it, but you know, I'm happy with the way that it is. So it's cool. Next track is Status featuring Lil Uzi Vert.
Status, making that status, I'm getting paid. Baddest, stacking my Benjis every day. Got an XOP spell rock. I'm a army top. Waiting no block. I told her a lot. Brown boy got a game on lock. Brown, got a suck in my cock. Got ice stacking rock.
Got her sucking my cock.
That bitch is gon' come my way. Balance.
The hook is dope.
I can make the bird be the worm out the pot. Fucking on your bitch, I secure my spot. Got a belly with the frog eyes. She like the way I'm mixing up my rocks. Yeah, the diamonds hit leave on my rocks.
Yeah, man, this one's just not for me, you know? I like the beat a lot, which is a shame because I feel like it was underutilized, I guess, or it didn't live up to its full potential because of the actual artist's performance, you know, so that's upsetting. But yeah, this track just isn't it, you know? Codeine featuring Gunna.
Don't start judging if you don't know me. Had a bad relationship with codeine. Dripping every day, so you gotta quit, but I still pop beans. Got that night till I crack my teeth. Like bulls got my people 70 G's. I told her come and ride it for a little serenade. I put out the convertible just for I got too many bars, I brought sand to the beat.
Yo, Gunna came in sliding, bro. It's a cool song, you know. I think Gunna really killed his verse, honestly. He was sliding. He sounded great. Just a really smooth performance, just something that was really nice and wavy. You know, it's a good song. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. I guess I could say that sometimes Nav's voice sounds a little bit overly processed. It kind of sounds robotic. And when you hear that a lot, like repeatedly on a lot of different songs, it kind of gets a little old. It kind of gets a little annoying maybe. But I don't know. I just wish there was a little bit more character to Nav's voice. Sometimes it feels a little bland. You know what I mean? Sometimes it really works, and sometimes it doesn't, you know? So I don't know what it is about it. Sometimes it's just a feel. Sometimes a song just has a really dope feeling to it. And I feel like some of these tracks are missing that. They sound a little formulaic sometimes. So next track is Saint Laurent.
Cover your feet, that Saint Laurent. Got pockets full of racks, can't fold them up. When it comes to Gucci, better from my cup. You say I only see you when I geek. You laugh cause I swear when I speak.
So on this track, how they're playing around with like the pitches and the formant on the auto-tune, it adds that little bit of variation, that little bit of character to his voice, I guess, that I was looking for. It definitely sounds a lot better than just hearing something that sounds so static, you know? So this is a step up. Something like this makes it sound a way more enjoyable to me personally, at least. So I'm enjoying this one. It's really smooth. It's got a really wavy vibe to it. Something that I can just kick back and relax to. Really dope.
Everywhere I go, they be pointing at me. Never worry about it, man.
That sample sounds clean too. Yeah, this one made it onto my playlist. I thought it was really smooth. Like I said, I enjoy the way that they manipulated his vocals. Kind of gives us something that's not so stagnant, something so static. I enjoyed this one. It's got a really cool vibe to it. Next track is Coast to Coast.
Holding my phone, I'm dodging a pothole. Married to the game, ain't coughing on that hole. And mud, I'm about to abuse you. If I catch my ops, they game, they making the news too. I'ma get hot like Bobby and Whitney. Money locked in my city, cash out.
Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of this one. The way the beat kind of sounds, it kind of sounds a little silly, I guess, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of the way that his voice sounds. Again, I'm not a huge fan of just this track in general. You know, something about it is just, it's lacking that feeling to it that's going to bring me back, that's going to make me remember this song. It's not very memorable. Just it's not as enjoyable, in my opinion. Next track is Run It Up featuring Pop Smoke.
Next week, we will see the bodies turning up. Popping this molly, got me gun that night, got some porcelain TV to a bottom account. I be getting bitch filling up Uber trucks. I said that I got $9 million check for me. If I see something else that I want, I'm buying cash. You that broke me, had no.
This is dope.
We will see the bodies turning up.
I'm liking his delivery here. It's very laid back.
She want to feel it, yeah. Me and I in the Bugatti. Got 5 stories, yeah, I look like a king. 35 carats the ring, cause I've been spending. I'm young and reckless. Ain't no force claiming.
I like this one a lot. That's on my playlist for sure. That's a really cool performance from Nav. Very laid back, very how can I say this? It's not exactly energetic. He's not belting. He's not using his upper registers very much. He's kind of keeping things very smooth, very laid back and relaxed. A very confident delivery. You know, it doesn't sound like he feels like he needs to do too much. That's what I'm saying here. It's a really cool delivery. And then from Pop Smoke, we got a really cool verse. Very fun to listen to. Very cool little flow. Definitely utilizing those spaces to let the beat stand out a little bit. Really cool song, man. I like that one a lot. Next track is Spend It with Young Thug.
Me to be finished. Spike gotta drop the zenith. Hit corners in the Porsche, I bend it. All quality stores got tennis, chains, don't play tennis. I don't want problems, my brother keep. They talk about me when I'm gone, but they don't say nothing when I'm back in town. Ready for me to be finished. Spike gotta drop the zenith. Hit corners in the Porsche.
I told the bitch not to peep out the glass, my bitch a career. I told her I let my bitch outside since I get a chili.
Yeah, you know, that one is just, it sounds very similar to some of the other tracks. It doesn't feel like we're getting too many different vibes, you know. It doesn't sound like we're getting anything very versatile, you know, from Nav. It's basically the same formula, mostly. And so, you know, it's, again, not a bad track. It's got a cool little vibe to it. And if you just played it alone, it's a wavy little song, you know. It's got a decent Thug feature on it, and you can kind of move to it. But having it at the 11th spot on a track list that has a bunch of other songs that sound just like this one, you know, it's just another one. It's just another song. So it's okay. Next track is Recap with Don Toliver.
Yourself, avoided contact. You out of line and do that.
Outside, I'm on that dirty road. Mine, she just called me up whenever she lied.
You geeked up on the island. Cardiac version violent.
I think that the 808 pattern definitely could have been a little bit simpler. They kind of overdid it on the 808s, and so it's a little distracting. It would have had a much more laid back vibe if they had a few less notes in there, you know, and made the bass line just a little simpler, a little bit easier to ride to. And so, you know, for the most part, again, this track is okay, but I feel like when the drums are hitting, the 808s are a little distracting, and there's not a very, like, awesome standout performance from either of them on this. Everything is just okay. We're aware of what they're capable of, you know, we're more than aware of what they're capable of, and so they're not really hitting that bar that they themselves have set, you know what I mean? Next track is She Hurtin'.
Yeah, these the last man left you scarred. I wouldn't change a thing about you, girl. I like you just the way you regular car. Took you from a small town out to LA, now everything filled with. And for a girl like you, I've been searching. Curved it, my friend in your DM, you curved. Almost hit the comments, I be changing lanes. Lots of new rappers coming out with my sound. If I had
this one shows a little bit more versatility. It's got a slower vibe to it, like an R&B kind of a feel to it. Not really an R&B, but what R&B sounds like nowadays. You know, that infusion of trap and R&B music is what I mean. You know, I think it's smooth. I think it's a really good track. It's definitely a little bit better than some of the other songs that we've heard, just because it sounds different. It's something that we haven't grown accustomed to from Nav. So I think that's really what I enjoy about it. So yeah, that one's really cool. Next track is Overdose.
Trying to cover pain up, buying all these things. Lately I've been feeling like there's something missing. Love my fans, they get everything out of me. But when I get depressed, no one can help me. Involved, I ain't trying to give into the pain. But it's getting hard staying. Bitches love us so much, my assistant getting laid. Diamonds be psychologists ignoring it. People know I'm smart, they always trying to fit my brain. Didn't cheat, but after credit code.
Yeah, again, a little bit of a slower vibe. I feel like at some points he really hits a flow where he's talking about his mental health and kind of the anxieties that he's feeling and some of the things that trouble him. And he opens up a little bit. And I think that would have been really interesting if he had given us more of that on this track. He kind of lets us into his psyche a little bit, and then he just kind of goes right back, to flexing and talking about how 30 grand is just petty change and how he wants a new watch, or how he has all the girls, and that's cool, and that's what we're used to, and it's a little superficial, but I was actually enjoying when he was getting into his actual mentality and the things that trouble him a little bit. That would have been really cool if we had gotten a little bit more of that. It's not a bad track. Like I said, it's different from what we're normally getting from him, so I feel like that makes it a little more enjoyable. But yeah, it's okay. Next track is Did You Wrong.
Hard to make it out where I'm from. Still can't believe that I'm number one. Now I got to call it, but the only one I want is you. Do whatever for.
Every flavored girl calling, but the only one I want is you. Like I said, man, earlier in this video, this man is a poet.
Myself, I'm lying through my teeth. Girl, I need one more chance. Gotta let my plans. Girl, tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah, the tracks are kind of starting to blend into one another now. He's coming at them with the same sort of approach most of the time, and it's really just starting to sound a little repetitive by this point. I do think that 18 tracks was a bit of a stretch for this project. And yeah, so this just kind of sounds like another one. It's another one of the same thing from Nav. Next track is MySpace.
Bought you everything in CC. Mirror, call me Louis bag with the chick. Fast, I cancel down my pace. I give you a lot of things, but I can't give you. Say I'm selfish. Since I got some change, I thought I spoiled you. Don't make me start to think you don't deserve me.
Yeah, just no new thoughts on that one. I guess what I said for Did You Wrong also applies for MySpace. Next track is No Ice featuring Lil Durk.
Riding around your block, we sliding late night, yeah. See a 5-pack, we taking it all a bit of a Klondike. Like I knows I'm riding river, bro, feet wrong or right. Trying to understand us. I pulled up class, no book bag, no pencil. 30 bricks, coke price went up. Gotta keep a wearing band right here, man, try to set him up. Nothing but a cards, how everything is gone. Streets be talking, they don't know who done me. Look who you look up to, look who you honor, with them niggas clowns, niggas. No one nigga.
I like this verse.
So many drugs, they say his body numb. I just say
I like Lil Durk's feature on this one. I think that's really dope. I like that he switches up his inflections and his flow. It doesn't sound as static as Nav's, although I do think that Nav's performance on this one is better than those last two tracks as well. And again, he talks a little bit more about his personal life, about his family, and I think that's really where he's really standing out to me. A lot of these songs sound the same in that they're basically just flex tracks, just one after the other, but whenever he gets a little bit more personal, I find it more enjoyable. So I like this one. It's not my favorite, but this is probably one of the standout tracks for sure. And the last track of the project is Proud of Me.
sit back and watch shit, that's all. More money, more problems, but I got a lot of problems that came up quick. Had to watch who I'm with when they started looking at me like a star. Been out, lately I feel like I'm a real friend, no fine.
Yeah, it's just a cool track to close us out. I'm not mad at it. I also don't think it's great. It's a good song, and I feel like that's kind of the case for all of these songs, really. If you played any one of them by themselves and you asked me, did you like that? I'd say yeah, I did. It's okay. It's an enjoyable experience. A lot of these tracks have cool beats. They've all got a really fun little vibe to them, but when you put them all together in a track list, by the time you get to track 10 or 11, you're looking for something else. You're tired of listening to the same thing over and over again, just flex track after flex track after flex track, the same flow, the same kind of vocal inflections, the same melodies sometimes even, and it really feels like one track starts blending into the one after it, and and it becomes less enjoyable, you know. So as individual tracks, they're all okay, but when you put them together in a project, it gets really repetitive, and it just doesn't help us to appreciate them all individually for what they are. You kind of start to look at it as one giant 40-minute long song, and it just gets a little boring about halfway through. So I feel like probably the steps that could have been taken would have been to be a little more experimental with your production, choose to go into different lanes, take that risk. Don't just do what's easy for you. Don't do what you've done 1,000 times and you're used to, because if you're used to it, we're used to it. And we don't want what we're used to over and over and over and over and over again. You know, that gets old. So, yeah, going for different sounds, going for different lanes, taking different approaches, modifying your voice a little bit, you know, and really going for it, doing something different, doing something risky is something that I feel like Nav just should be doing, and he isn't. So those are just some of my thoughts on this project. It got a little old, and it gets a little bit samey, I guess. You know, nothing about this feels like he has evolved since his project Reckless that he dropped in 2018, you know, for example. So it feels like there's no evolution there, and that's what I want to see. So those are my thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys thought about this in the comment section. It's definitely not a bad album. It just could have been a lot better. And yeah, thank you all again so much for watching. Thank you all for all the support that you've shown to the channel. Be sure to support any way that you see fit. And I will be back in another video very soon. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.